things are escalating quickly. Donald Trump, in a Truth Social post, just stated that because China has retaliated to our tariffs, if they don't back down now because we're America, we're going to impose an additional 50% tariff. So we already have tariffs on China. Then we just raised new tariffs on China for Liberation Day. And now on top of all those, Donald Trump is threatening an additional 50% tariff on all Chinese exports coming into the United States. What this looks like to me, ladies and gentlemen, is a declaration of war and political brinksmanship. This is not logical, rational negotiation. This is Donald Trump saying, getting in your face, you better back down now, little bussy boy, or I'm going to slaughter your economy. Okay? This is not good. This is not good at all. This could actually, if things really escalate, this could trigger World War III. Because if you look at it from China's perspective, right? They're the factory of the world, okay? They have a manufacturing denominated economy. That's what their economy does. They make and they make and they make and they make, and then they send the goods overseas. And they're doing pretty well. And they've been fighting against the United States in this global titanic struggle to achieve market dominance. The United States, on the other hand, doesn't really make a lot of stuff. Okay, we're not the factory of the world. What we have is a reserve currency and a powerful military. And we used our military to surround China. I don't know if you guys knew this, but all the islands that surround the coast of China, yeah, they're all our buddies, okay? And the United States has been encircling China with the military and with all their allies, and basically threatening that if they ever invade Taiwan, we're gonna freaking destroy them. So the brinksmanship that's going on now is a serious threat because we've been lurching closer and closer to war with China. It's two great powers looking to compete. And by these massive tariff escalations, this isn't even negotiation. This is just boisterous bragging and bravado and threatening coming from Trump. Things could get so heated so quickly that maybe China decides to invade Taiwan. Maybe, a couple ships in the ocean near China, U.S. ships and Chinese ships have an issue. Maybe one of our allies has some kind of confrontation with China. And this could quickly devolve into a war. So what Trump is doing is absolutely despicable and stupid, okay? Is China manipulating their currency, bro, and screwing America over? In a sense, they probably are manipulating their currencies, of course, because they want a cheap currency in order to maximize exports, just like America wants to do, okay? Countries manipulate their currencies all the freaking time in order to compete in the global trading economy. It isn't like China's the bad guy and America's the amazing good guy. That's not how it freaking works in the world, okay? All countries compete with each other, and they do whatever they can in order to maximize their benefits. That's all it is, okay? So, shockingly, China was manipulating their currency, keeping it low so they could maximize exports. Shocker! Wow, a country would do that. And Trump's response is to have this massive, high-stakes freaking escalation, okay? And if China doesn't back down, which I honestly hope they don't, I hope they don't, things could get very nasty very quickly. And if you think stocks are selling off now, wait till you see what happens if China actually does try to take Taiwan, where all of our freaking chips are made. Things could get brutal. We could have a global depression and a massive war. And I don't think America is ready for that war. Now, I think we would win the war militarily because our military is so much more powerful. Not the Army, but the Navy and the Air Force would just absolutely crush China, in my humble opinion, okay? But the war could go on for a long time. And America currently has a huge debt, massive debt. We're at the same debt level as a percentage of GDP as we were during World War II. And if we start a war, the cost, not only because of the collapse of the economy, which it would happen, that would massively hurt the government deficit. Now we're spending way more on the military. That's going to push the deficit even higher, and probably interest rates even higher. And then on top of that, when the war's finally over, God help us, all the associated costs of all the veterans that were injured or died are going to freaking explode. I think a war with China in the long run would really be the end of America. I really do. Not the death of America, but a huge collapse in our economic power. We can't afford a war. Fiscally, we are not in a situation to have a huge war with China. And although we could have military victories, guess what? The amount of debt that we'd pile up would be astronomical. So this whole Brinksmanship game that Trump's playing with China, an additional 50% tariff off the tariffs that he just put on, and on top of the tariffs that were put on by Biden and him before that, is absolutely insane, okay? China has other trading partners besides the United States. This is ridiculous, what's going on here. And you know who's going to go fight this war? It's not going to be the freaking old people. It's not going to be the women. It's going to be young freaking men, okay? And me, because I'm still in the freaking military. So we're going to go and die. We're going to go fight and die the Chinese in a massive global war because, oh, we have a trade deficit with China because they make stuff and we buy it cheap. And our companies outsource to China, but it's China's fault. It's not China's fault. The corporations in America were the ones that decided to outsource to maximize their corporate profits. They're the ones that bought and paid for Congress, which didn't even enforce freaking border security, in order to flood the nation with cheap labor. It's not China's fault. They're just a competitor in the global game of politics and economics. Every country freaking manipulates their currency. Every country tries to compete. Every country tries to get advantages over every other country. Every country spies on each other. Welcome to the game. Stop blaming China for all your freaking problems. They're not the boogeyman, okay? And I'm not shilling for China here, but the amount of clownery that's going on and the amount of brinksmanship that's going on, it's not going to be good for people like me and you who actually have to go fight the wars. It ain't the boomers. It ain't the chicks. It's freaking you. And you're going to die. You're going to freaking die if you go to war. This ain't freaking Afghanistan, okay? Where you got some goat herders in the mountains shooting AKs at you and then, you know, maybe 2 guys from your unit die. This is a real war that could happen against like basically a near peer enemy. China is not Afghan goat farmers. Things would get bloody and nasty. You'd have Russia level casualties. Do you want that? Do you guys really want that? Think carefully about this, okay? So I think America should back down from the tariff threats, okay? We don't need to impose an additional 50% tariff, okay? We can just keep the tariff up that we just put on them. They retaliated. Why keep raising the stakes? This is not going to end good, people. Anyway, what do you think? Do you think, I'm just a complete moron and nothing could possibly go wrong with this massive escalation in tariffs and basically declaring economic war on China? Or, are you crapping your pants? Because if you're a young man, oh yeah, if there's a draft, you're going to fight and die, boy. And all your little strong, independent women and your parents, they're not going to die. It's going to be you. Anyway, like, subscribe, check out the pinned comment, book a free tax consultation. I am a certified public accountant. I will do your business and or personal taxes any state in the United States. You can talk to me for free. I give you upfront quotes, and I'll prepare your taxes like a boss. If you haven't filed your taxes yet, you still need to pay your taxes due by April 15th, even if you file an extension. Talk to me. We'll calculate the extension payment. We'll file the extension, and then we'll fix your taxes and get them filed when you're ready. Cheers!